Yes, what's happening, racing world? It's another Saturday in our great game, the final day of Glorious Goodwood. Morning post time for you. Welcome along, everyone. Dust off your Friday night feelings. However you're looking at this day, we're going to preview the top racing content coming your way. Stick with us for the next hour or so. All the news and views. The markets, they're all set now. We know what the weather is doing. There are a few nons at Goodwood. We'll be looking at a really good card at Newmarket. And, of course, reflecting and looking at the final piece of the pig's jigsaw, I nearly said, at Galway, of course, which is Freudian, I think, actually, for what's going on at Galway this week. What have you made of it? There is, of course, a chat out there for you. Get your thumbs up, like and subscribe, and then you can have a chat with everyone out there. Let us know your naps today. What wins the Stewards' Cup? Is this the best betting race of the season? A lot of people on the flat tell me this is it. Do you agree? Let's find out with the panel, shall we? Of course, this is sponsored by William Hill at Racing Post headquarters, and we're going to open up the trading floor for you as well. We've got the boost coming your way. The boosts have been doing ridiculously well for the layers out there in the last couple of weeks. Let's see if we can get this one beaten. Before that, introduce to our panel. He's had a busy week, and Tom Segal is back in the studio. Good to see you, Thomas.
Hi, David. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. I'm all good. I mean, it's final day of sort of Galway stroke Goodwood, which I managed to get somehow word saladed out. I used to be a massive fan of Galway. I've sort of lost my way a little bit with it. I don't know whether it's the quality's gone down or what, or whether I just can't call it. Johnny Dineen's going to come onto the show in a bit and talk about a few angles there. Have you been watching that?
Yeah. I prefer Galway to Goodwood myself.
I thought you might say it.
I find Galway easier than Goodwood. I find Goodwood really, really tricky. But Galway's been fine. I like the plate, obviously. Thought that was a good...
Very valuable races, of course.
A good race, yeah.
It's a very good opportunity for a smaller yard in Ireland to shine, I think, isn't it, as well,
and I think one thing I've noticed this week is that, I'm not a trends man at all, but the trends have been turned up on it. There's suddenly 4-year-olds are winning the Galway Hurdle, Trap 21's winning the Coral Mile, the mile at Goodwood. These races are turning their heads, we've all... And it's very difficult for tipsters to get them, because you look a real fool if you tip Trap 21 at Goodwood and it comes last. Everyone, the social media goes berserk if you tip Trap 21 at Goodwood, and then it goes and wins. And you sort of feel like, I quite fancied that, but I couldn't really, you know what I mean?
That's the game, isn't it?
It
now?
is,
you know what
it's
I mean?
tricky.
Just before we move down, Stewards' Cup record?
Back in the day, when I knew where they were going to go, I had a pretty good record. These days, where you have no idea where they're going to go, it makes it a lot more tricky. But I think we got a chance today.
Oh, that's all right. We've teased it. Great stuff. Let's move down the line. Our brother from another mother, Charlie Poste, is with us again.
David, how are we?
Have we ever had a ride around Goodwood or
Never
Galway?
rode at Goodwood, no.
Galway?
Galway, I was supposed to ride one in the plate one year that had no chance, and luckily it was a
pulled out in the
scratch
morning.
last minute. Yeah,
so you went to
Did you go over?
Which is a massive relief.
Oh.
Yeah.
You even didn't have to get the plane.
No, it was a 2-mile front-running chaser, and I thought I'll be up in front. It's got no chance of staying, and then when the fumes went, I'd have been worried about what might have happened.
Last time we had you on the show, you did a lovely piece about Thomas Crapper passing away. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Great memories there.
Yeah,
of course.
what a great horse he was.
Yeah, all right. Now you're known, of course, as a sort of like dual-purpose pundit, aren't you? Breeder and all that sort of stuff. So let's get that.
No breeding, but as in dual purpose, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, pinhooking, we should call it,
exactly.
shouldn't we? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got your eye on another couple of yearlings?
We're about to start.
Did you see Appleby down at Goodwood this week? Have you tapped him up already for the zip?
Saying, come on, please.
For the double digits.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep going.
Let's get him revved up.
All right. Okay. You went on Tuesday, of course. It was boiling hot, wasn't it?
Seriously hot. Typical British. It's too hot now, wasn't it? It was freezing cold the year before, but when we were there on the Tuesday, but it was scorching, and we had a really good day. I thought the track, it seemed busy on the Tuesday.
Good. All right. Okay. Let's go up to Yorkshire, shall we, and open up the betting jungle, the sauna, if you like, as Nick Luck once famously called it. It's Johnny Simpson, the judge, who joins us back. Now, this is the top William Hill trader. What do we know, Johnny? It's the final day. Have punters had enough, or are they only just getting revving up?
Morning, Dave. Yeah, it's seeming the never-ending Galway festival. Was it day 7 or day 8? I've lost count. But it's been a good week. Good week for punters. The big races we've been well found out in them. We could do with a big last day, but we're going to take on Free Wind in a little entry. We're going to go 7-2 from 3-1. We're on a roll with this. So we're going to take on Free Wind. She's got the best form, but she doesn't win very often. So 7-2.
Whoa, there you go.
Look, it's even different from that, David.
Yeah, they've even... this was, of course, done probably, I imagine, first thing this morning by the guys in the gallery. And there you go. So drifting all the time. Of course, it was 10 to 11 on last year, Johnny. When Frankie was riding, I remember, on the day when they called it off. Sumo Sam was in the race. There are non-runners in it because it's free wind ground. But these boosts have been insufferably doing rather well for you guys. If you've been laying these people out there, you must be absolutely in the black. If you've been backing them, we need to get some back, don't we? So, all right, there you go, as we're about to find out Paul Keeley-Keane. But this is the big one today.
It is, yeah. We're I think it was 6 or 7 on a row. So yeah, free wind. The ground last year, obviously, it was heavy. She didn't like that at all. She's got a ground here, but 11 to 4, 3 to 1 looks plenty short enough for me.
All right, Johnny, your career is in jeopardy. This is on your watch. If this one gets beat, it's a whopping price. And that's live for you now on the site and in the app, William Hill as well. Get involved. Okay, shall we have a look at what you can get in your Racing Post this morning? Those of you that have gone out and bought it, or indeed if you're digitally online in the members club, it's of course what is this? Oh, right, the Festival of Speed. There you are, Tom. Your usual place on a Saturday.
I wish I'd had the 25 to 1 winner.
Yes, Keeley had his moment in the sun. Was that? It was in the 2 mile 4 race, wasn't it? Yesterday, yeah. The back to back. It all looks so simple after the race, doesn't it? The back to back years, of course.
Big drifter, wasn't it? It was really weird.
Yeah, Charles Bishop had a steering job in that as well, didn't he? Yeah, very good. All right, okay. Well done to Keels. He's down there today. If you see him in Sussex, go and say hi. Now for the old stagers to shine on the last glorious day. John Harding, who's been down there for us all week, does some great reporting. That's page 2. Setting the scene. The Smart View car. Where are they going? Billy Joe. It's like, on you go, Billy Joe. Does he turn up every single race? This Mick Appleby. How good a week is Mick Appleby having as well? That is the simple pick. I put all the variables into the algorithm. I'm Merrick, the only port of call on a last day at Goodwood, says Johnny Dineen, whose wager of the weekend is Galway tomorrow. Janadill. That's interesting, Johnny. We'll be getting a word with him on that, because I don't think Johnny's going to do a bit of a Keels, I think, and have a bit of a rant when we get him on later. Summergand, still a player, and all set for a second Stewards Cup. There's a lot of murmuring on the panel here. And again, talking about Billy Joe turning up. How many of these is he running? Summergand, Paul Keeley with his scissors. And you can see there, 2-point win on free wind. His player of the day on the website is Kirat, who...
It's a non-runner.
Is it a non-runner?
It's
out. Oh, because they swerved one in earlier in the week, didn't they, Beckett and Co? All right, so now I guess that makes the player today free wind. Out on Monday, and I have seen him in the office. Mark Langdon back off a holiday after doing all the Euro stuff for you, breaking the monopoly, the big
What a great
kickoff.
graphic, Dave. What about that? That looks
happy
great,
with
isn't
that?
it? Yeah, I like that.
That's got you going, isn't it?
I like that.
You sit
All
back
right.
in the office, I thought you meant Pep Guardiola for a minute.
he's telling Mark Langdon how you must not tip against me this season. Yeah, it's your unbeatable betting guide to the 2024-25 season. Out on Monday, guys. It's fast approaching, isn't it? Championship back on the 10th. Our type of football. What league are you in now?
Don't you start. League One.
You're off there late to see Reading as well, aren't you? Oh, he's got a spring in his step this morning. That's great. All right, good stuff. That's where we're at. Like and subscribe, people. That's what it's all about. Right, nearly time for the previews. Okay, preview time. Let's see where we're rocking and rolling. We start off in the 150. It's the Glorious Stakes. It's Group 3 with some right old characters in the race. Yeah, we've only got 5 in there, Johnny. This was almost like favourite to be favourite time, wasn't it, when you put up the market? No one could really decide. Has the market finally come down on Imeric?
Yeah, it's been a very quiet market from an Ante Poste point of view. Obviously, Continuous was entered in this, and obviously he's not turned up. This is our top price guaranteed race, which we've been doing all week. It's a little bit like a bags card. I was half tempted to put them all in 4 to 1 and let the punters crack on, but Imeric is the one here, 3 from 4. A little bit of money for Lions Pride as well. I think he's got a chance back on better ground. He's 4 from 9 to 2.
All right, okay, lots to take out of that. Top price guarantee then on the 150 every Saturday, William Hill. You won't be beaten basically, says the layers out there at the moment. If you want to have a bet on this race, you've got to be going there. So 3-1 the field. Tom, this is a right head scratcher, I suppose, for a lot of people out there. I'm actually seeing the ball big, but I'll get it to you after.
Go on, then you give us.
I'm with Johnny Dineen. I think I'm Eric's King of Conquest form at the track, penultimate start in a Mickey Mouse race, and you could argue that might be the case again. I think there'll be a bit more forward on him this time. He's a horse that stays well. I think the ground's bang in his favour.
I think you're right. I think he's the one with the least question marks about him.
That's why I like him.
Because there are question marks about all the others. I mean, ground's going to be a big thing there. I mean, there's a lot of non-runners today. It's going to be very quick. Merrick shouldn't have a problem on it. I would be worried about Alazi on very quick ground. His brother, Kirat, was pulled out. Oh, was it Kirat? No, maybe in the later race. I can't remember. But Kirat's Blue Stockings.
Go on, I'll go with it.
But Alazi, I'd be worried about the ground. Lion's Pride, I think, is interesting because I think he will like the ground. He's by Roaring Lion.
That's interesting.
He's a pedigree angle with him that he might like the ground. But I thought Phantom Flight was good at Newbury the other day. I don't see what's wrong with him. I know he's stepping up in trip, but I think he'll get it. I think he'll be ridden quite prominently. I just don't see what was wrong with him. I see he's drifted out to 9-2 today, but I think that's a perfectly fair price.
Align the Stars is the half.
Align the Stars, Align the Stars. I knew there was a horse running later on.
Yeah, which we'll get to for you.
He was pulled out earlier in the week.
Yes, well, he was going to run in the Gordon Stakes, and he was in a handicap, so we'll get to that race, of course. It's interesting about Lion's Pride, because Johnny Simpson said that as well. I've always said, I thought he wanted a bit more cut, and that's why he was running on the poly track a bit more. I don't know, he's an interesting one, I'm not sure. But
pedigree is all fast ground. John Gosden's not short. He's pretty quick to pull horses out if he doesn't think they like the ground. I think he'll run okay today.
Are you looking at the tactics for Phantom Flight and thinking we now? Because do you remember, was it in last year's Stevenson Stakes when Alazi beat him?
Yeah.
And of course it was a repeat a fortnight ago at Newbury, wasn't it, where he got his revenge? He almost looked like a sort of reluctant leader. Do you think now they're like, come on, we know we can do this?
Well, he's changed stables, hasn't he? George Scott, Isle of Jura man, so he's doing very well with his older horses. So.
Now known as the Isle of Jura
exactly.
Man, yeah.
I just thought that was soft ground when Alazi beat him. Alazi loves soft ground. His form in the Coronation Cup when he just got beaten by Pile Driver is a soft ground form. So I thought that's why. I think the change in stable, the change in tactics, the change in ground gives him a chance. But he's very weak in the market today, which slightly surprises me.
That's interesting, isn't it? I wouldn't let that worry me too much.
I feel like he drifted before Newbury as well, like he ended up bigger than he was early in the morning.
I wonder if he's always going to be one of those punters' pals and that you're going to get a decent return of him because they look for an excuse for Alazi. Fitness now come on residual-wise. Of course, you could say that about him as well. But I like I'm Eric. Johnny Dineen likes I'm Eric. Tom likes Phantom Flight. And you like?
I'm with Phantom Flight as well. I'm with Tom, yeah. I mean, better to be with Tom than who I respect as a
me. Fair point. All right, okay, all right. Give us the case because you liked him at Newbury. Of course.
I did.
Listen, let's get this out of the way, shall we?
No, I mean, as in that. I just think in this race, like there isn't heaps of pace. I think he's tactically versatile. I don't think he has to make the run in either. The hood seemed to work well the last day. He'd been gelded as well. George Scott's a trainer I've got quite a lot of time for. I just thought he was a solid horse to run to run very well in what is a trappy race, isn't it?
You don't mind coming on this show these days, do you?
Did he hate it before then?
Well, I'm not sure I would say hate it. He was in you're quite similar. You know what I mean? You all bemoan this. You see him when they come in. Oh, here we are again. You know. But he, like you, he rushes off after the show to like a lot of people, I think, to do things. But you went to play cricket, didn't you? And despite the fact he was on the boundary for 2 hours, just staring at the skies and what a lovely afternoon, when's lunch, all that sort of thing, he kept messaging me going, my nap's in, my 16-1 shots.
Was this on the boundary you were doing this, was it?
Well, it was actually while I was keeping wicket.
Was it?
Which shows a lot of skill, really, doesn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good week for you last time you were on,
yeah.
And Phantom Flight was one of your tips.
Yeah.
All right,
exactly.
okay, all right. So that is the first race. Johnny, if you had to pick one, come on, because we're all Team America, Team Phantom Flight.
I'd be really strong on Lion's Pride. I think he's got a great chance at 9-2, 4-1.
Just a quick word for Relentless Voyager then, because no one's mentioned him. Of course, he did run in Italian Derby. They thought he was perhaps a little bit better than the handicapper he's turned himself into. Some people were saying there was an excuse last time at York. There was a funny race. Don't like him at all?
No, I like him a lot. I think the E-ball's the plan for him. It was a funny race. I just don't know about him on very fast ground. It should be okay, but I don't know about that.
I guess when they're going for an E-ball, you need to keep them running, don't you? Keep them fit, you know.
Yeah, and when he was so impressive at Epsom, that was on Derby Day. It was a bit of giving the ground that day. So that's the only thing. But I get all these, you don't really know whether they go on the ground until he runs on it.
Well, that's right. Okay, so it's a bit like Phantom Flight. It's a bit like the Phantom Clouds that have never turned up at Goodwood, isn't it? What a difference 12 months make, of course. It was a disgraceful scenes when they called it off with the weather. Anyway, I hope you've been enjoying it this week. Let's move on, shall we? And go down the cards. What have we got for you now? It's a 225, and the aforementioned Align the Stars, the brother or half brother to Alazi, is here, of course, joined by Charlie Johnson. We've got Fairbanks, who Johnny Simpson. We did an anti-post mover section, which we're going to do with you a little bit later on. And Fairbanks, after his win, was it on the July course? He was put up for the E-ball, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was 14 from 25 off the top of my head. He's favourite here at the moment, 100 to 30, but we're keen to take him on here. I thought he had sort of the run of the race, and O'Sheen gave him a great ride at Newmarket. But I'd be amazed if he could give thick end of a stone to Align the Stars there. You know, improving horse, 3-year-old. Align the Stars would be a strong bet for me here at the prices. The current market, we're paying 4 places, and the each-way horse here is True Legend. He's 7 from 9. And there has been a few little bits and pieces for the old boy, Yukon Glen. He's 22 from 33. I mean, I don't. He's in 10, 11 now, but he's still got a few fans out there.
I actually had a look at this race, John, and I thought he might run well, actually, Yukon Glen, without wanting to put him up. Can we start with Align the Stars then? Because this is the Johnsons at Goodwood. It's 3-year-old, and at this time of year, they sort of coined the phrase "wait from older horses," didn't they, with their handicaps? No, in my time in racing, Tom, but few people have done it better, capitalising on that. He was going to run in the Gordon Stakes, as Posty said, which is sort of St Ledger Trial Group race earlier in the week, for those of you that don't know, and yet they must have looked at this race and thought, OK, we'll have a go. One thing that really interested in me in this, that I can find no 3-year-old winner of it in the past 10 years. I must admit, I didn't dig deeper. I'm sure there is. I can't find a 3-year-old that's running it in the last 10 years. Of course, it is open to 3-year-olds and above. If you look at your Raceform Interactives and your things that will gather these for you, not one 3-year-old. That's startling, isn't it? Well, and here they are rolling the dice.
Well, the reason they can't normally get in it. But the problem is there's so few horses that are bred to stay these days that there aren't that many good staying horses around. So a 3-year-old has got in the race. That's why they're running here rather than the Gordon Stakes earlier in the week. So they think they have a better chance here. It's just a ground thing with me. It was a funny day at Haydock. It was the day they were all called off, wasn't it? Half the field slipped over in the race he won. Before that, he looked okay the last time, but before that, he looked a bit of an it wasn't totally in.
He ran here as a 2-year-old, if you remember. On his second start. I actually backed him that day. He looked slow. So this
will suit him. It'll definitely suit him. Definitely suit him, and he's improving horse for the Johnsons. I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced. This is a big step up for me from the last run.
Fairbanks?
I mean, Johnny wasn't keen on him. I think he's got a perfectly reasonable chance. I think when a horse pulls as hard as he did for the first mile at Newmarket and still wins, they've got a lot in hand of the handicapper. If he pulls like he did that day, he won't win this. But if O'Sheen can get him back and get him settled, I think there's more to come from him. So I
think he'd have more chance of doing that round Goodwood.
Round Goodwood, exactly. Newmarket, wide open spaces, not a great strong pace. He should hopefully get some pace to run out of it. So I'm not against him. I thought Knightswood, the other Johnson horses, it's the only I keep calling it Mark Johnson. Only Charlie Johnson horse that has gotten his form figures hampered. About every time he runs, he gets if you look through the form, not clear run. Now he starts slowly. That's the problem with him. And he's a bit of a thinker, but he's the type of horse that could run really well if he's smuggled into it later on here. I think Goodwood will suit him. I think them Step Up in Triple suit him. So of the 2 Johnson ones, I'd rather back him at 14 to 1 than Align the Stars.
I'm not surprised at the price-wise Supremo going for the bigger odds. Charlie, as an interesting point that Tom said there, I don't want to put the mockers on it, but horses that are notorious hard pullers, I mean, look at Notable Speech. He would be your classic example, what he did in the Sussex Stakes. Horses are settling beautifully around this bend, aren't they?
Well, I mean, yeah, because like Tom said, you're on a turning track, which gives you far more chance, where there often is pace early in the race to try and get track position. So I think comparing it to Newmarket, which is wide open, it's far less easy to find cover. You'd think you get far more of a chance at Goodwood than you would at Newmarket, especially. And like for hard pulling horses, I always think this is a good slot for them.
Because they just drop their head a bit and sort of forget their racing almost.
You're giving them something more to think about. Like when they're on the turn, you're having to manoeuvre them round. That they're having to think about other things rather than just trying to go in a straight line as quick as possible. Which Newmarket, as we all know, is a really sort of obvious case for that to happen.
Yeah, I must admit, I find the July course the trickier. I look at it. It's not a track that I like. I love watching racing there. I don't like punting at it. I've got to admit, and we are coming to a race up there for you shortly. 4 places on this race, and this is your time to shine.
Great bedwin for me, the Hannon horse. Again, he another one that's been gelded, themed from a couple of early selections. I thought he was good at Newbury over a mile and a half. He had to wait to get a run, but when he did, he picked up well. He looked an obvious one that the extra 2 furlongs I think will suit, and I just think he's an improving horse that's still handicapped to win a race like this.
All right, okay, that is the staying handicap done. You've got 4 places with William Hill. The guys have spoken. Who do you like? Let us know. Get your comments up as we move through, whittle through, and aforementioned July course comes up. Oh, I sigh when I look at this race because I think I've tried to find the winner of this, either live on one of those live shows we used to do, or indeed tipping wise, since we started doing shows here. And this one is my Achilles heel. I really don't like this race, Johnny. What do punters like?
Well, it was fairly quiet after we priced it. There wasn't a great deal going on. But this morning, the market is screaming in the favour of place of safety. It's 3 from 5. Now, the original favourite, LeMay, obviously from the same stable, John Gosden. You would think they know what they've got there with place of safety, but she's 3 from 5. The other 3-year-old, Fairy Glen, is relatively weak. That's 5 from 72.
Interesting. I think as Johnny was talking there, jockeys and the Gosdens are being talked about more over the last couple of years than more than any I know. And even now we don't know what the first string is with them. Even if Kieran Schumacher rides one, they might have a retained jockey. Even if Rab's on LeMay here and Benoit's on, it's a sleight of hand. If I was John Gosden and Daly, I'd be quite enjoying this, you know. You can sort of play about with it, can't you? Let's come to you, Posty, here.
It's not a race I really like at all, if I'm honest. I tentatively I put LeMay up because I just thought the second in the Copper House behind the Willie Mullins horse, whose name escapes me, was the strongest piece of form on offer. I mean, Place of Safety and Fairy Glen, their form is miles short of being good enough at the moment. I mean, I can't remember which one's got a mark of the mid-90s, which I couldn't really see from a form perspective.
That's Place of Safety. She's the one that's sort of on the way up, isn't she?
I mean, I get that they're on the way up, but they've got to take a big jump to kind of get to the level of LeMay. Again, the likes of Ambient, Amigo, I think was first for James Owen. Like, it was poor, weak form in this grade the time before. I thought LeMay was a solid one, but it's not a race that I'd be taking a massive interest in.
One outright favourite in the last 10 years, which means it's a race that probably might have been kind to you, Tom, I would imagine. The Gosdens are on a hat-trick in this. Sweet Memories last year, Emotion the time before that. John also won it when he was training it outright to Eternity. And Gretchen, not really names that jump off the page at you, are they? And I've seen what I thought might have been good things turned over in this. I'll be at the bar.
Yeah.
Again.
See, I don't know how you can not like Goodwood and do like Goodwood and not like Newmarket. Nothing ever gets in any hampered at Newmarket. That's what I like about it.
I don't know. I've been
it's great.
It's
great.
I'll find trouble on the July course.
It's great. At Goodwood, you're watching bumper cars. Newmarket, nothing gets any trouble. So I quite like it. The one thing I'd say about this race is that the 3-year-old fillies have been lapping the older fillies all season. Okay. In the Falmouth, they were first and second, including Jabara and Porta Fortuna.
Yeah.
In the Nassau, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think, but basically it was the 3-year-olds at the front and the older horses at the back.
Is that because the 3-year-olds are better, or because the wait for age is very favourable?
I think the older horses aren't great.
Fine.
That's my feeling about it, and so that's probably why the punters have latched onto this Place of Safety, because she has massive upside, whereas we know where the other ones are. And that would be my reading of the market. Obviously, also the Gosdens would know where they stand. But I'm like you. I thought LeMay had clearly the best form on her Ascot run, and she did a lot wrong that day as well. She was quite keen on the outside. She went to the front a long way out, and still was rallying at the end. So I thought she had a very big chance in this race. Obviously, I don't know enough about Place of Safety, but clearly, boys in the Gosden yard do.
Yeah. Well, it's Benoit.
That's the worry, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. You genuinely won't really know. And LeMay's obviously got much more to know about her, hasn't she? Seems like she's been running a long time to me. But Rab Havlin is on.
And I thought the drop back 2 furlongs in trip wasn't the end of the world either, because she showed plenty of pace.
There's always a slow motion finish in this race as well. Even when somebody wins on the bridle, it's probably going the pace of a tail.
You're a real fan of this,
I really don't like this race. I've been burnt, as you can tell. But look, we get paid to come on a show.
There goes your free membership to the Newmarket July course.
horse. Yeah, if I ever had one. Absolutely. Listen, if there's trouble to be found at Newmarket, I will certainly find it. All right, okay, that's the 240. So did we get a tip out the way, just to remind us?
Well, we both like LeMay, I think, just
it.
on form.
LeMay. Forget the market. You think the punters are just looking at the sexy one?
Well, we could, we don't know what Place of Thunder is.
And are you putting anything up, or are you just having?
No, I'm way out the way here. No, I'm way out the way. Let's go to some proper fillies, shall we? And of course, it is the Lily Langtry. Love this race. And Tom's thinking, why? Probably. But this is, we've seen some really good finishes in this, some great horses over the years. And David Manuzio, of course, who took out the Golden Mile somehow from the outside stall, Johnny Simpson, he relies on Keith Chorister here, who you really think is obviously a massive danger to this free win, which, to remind anyone who's just come out and pulled the sheets off and dusted down the apps or TV or whatever you're watching us on, is the boost this week, free wind.
It is, yeah. It's very popular at the moment at 7-2, but in sort of the field book this morning, she's relatively weak, and we want to keep the right side of Keys Chorister, but she's not very strong at all at the moment too. I think she's got the most solid form. The punters at the moment are siding with Tom's selection this morning: Mellow, Grateful, and River of Stars. They're all being backed each way. This is one of those rare markets where there's been 4 non-runners, all above 14-1. So it's the punters' slight advantage here at the moment.
I just want to draw a breath just quickly, guys, to have a word for Wotton Racing. Having not been totally sure about any of it and waiting to sort of see what they were going to emerge into, I think they're going to be so important for the British game, don't you? The horse who went from Ed Walker, got touched off, is it Midnight Gun earlier in the week? Yeah. Who looks all over a Cambridgeshire horse, by the way. But that horse would be running in Hong Kong or Australia now if it wasn't for these guys, wouldn't it? They're going to maybe just turn the tide somewhat. I think it's huge. Yesterday, they nearly won the last 3 races. Their investment is not to be underestimated. They got a runner tonight in the Whitney Stakes in America. These are big, big players. And here we are with Mellow. And I must admit, I'm drawn to her chances, Tom.
Well, on form, she's got a very good chance, hasn't she? She was second, beaten ahead by Warm Heart in the Vermeil last year. That was the fastest ground she's run on. I know the trainer is on record as saying she'd want softer ground. Not totally convinced by that myself. On the form book doesn't necessarily say that. And Mr. Graffard is having a bit of a run, isn't he, with his horses in Britain at the moment. Calandagan at Royal Ascot, and obviously Goliath the other week. I think she'll stay the trip. I had my doubts about the 2 at the top of the market. Free wins just because the Gosden Old fillies are so oxo these days. I mean, they run one good race, one bad race, and look at Emily Upjohn at the week. She looked. I mean, the form of her Pretty Polly run was good behind Blue Stocking, and then she ran no race in the. And Inspiral's all over the place, isn't he? I just don't know what you're going to get from Free Wind. I'm with Johnny. I think she's got the best form. Yeah. Clearly got the best form.
Yeah, without doubt.
But whether she's going to produce that, she might well do. She might well do. But I think punters are saying we just don't know what we're going to get, so we don't really want to back her at the moment. Now that might change nearer the off. Keith Chorister has got loads. I mean, she's been an absolute goldmine for connections, hasn't she? She's been a brilliant mare, but she went a bit bonkers in the Gold Cup. I thought she pulled way too hard, didn't she?
Was it?
Benoit.
Benoit was on.
I thought it's interesting that Benoit's gone. This is the point we should have made in the last
Clive
race.
Washburn's.
He's retained.
Well, he's supposedly retained by Clive Washburn.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's gone. He's gone to ride the Gosden.
Didn't really
filly.
think of that.
He's gone to ride the Gosden. So that's maybe a pointer for her. But look, if she settles, she's got a chance. Clearly got a chance on form. And then we've got the three-year-old again, haven't we? Grateful. She's, as we said for the last race, the 3-year-olds have been dominating the older
O'Brien
horses.
hasn't got a good record in this, surprisingly.
He hasn't.
I looked down because I wanted to think he did. I think he's run very good fillies in it, actually. Some sort of like potential cup fillies, that sort of stuff.
She looked a bit slow. She looked a bit all over the place when she won the other day. Now, I wonder whether the fast ground here might catch her out against more experienced fillies, but she could have a class edge. She's beautifully bred, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. When he did his stable tour for Glorious Goodwood, he did make a mention of Grateful as one that's getting better quickly. So I'm not surprised there's money for her as well.
All right, okay. Posty.
Yeah, I mean, I've put up Grateful because I just thought it wouldn't be the greatest surprise in the world as a Galileo filly if all of a sudden she is coming forward. The step up in trip at Fairyhouse suited well. I think she'll be fine on the ground. I mean, I actually thought when she kind of got there, she travelled into it okay at Fairyhouse, and then just sort of, whether it was still being a bit green but she didn't really put the race to bed. But I just I'm just going on the fact that I think there's more to come against ones that we know exactly where they are. Chaos Chorister was definitely the obvious one, I thought, but you are kind of going, well, yes, she's coming back from 2.5 to a mile and 6, but she still could be reckless keen early in spite of that. It's not like we're suddenly going to, they tend to go a pretty good gallop in a Gold Cup as well. So I think she does need to switch off. If she does, she's the massive danger.
Harry Bentley, of course, back taking the ride. It's good to see Harry back.
Yeah.
He's been making a good fist of it over in Hong Kong, hasn't he? And I remember 12 months ago he was there partying. I saw him on the estate at Goodwood afterwards. He wasn't riding, of course, and he must have come back and thought, I fancy a bit of that, So
were you partying with him, David?
I was in the vicinity. When I could do these things. When I could do these things, I just throwing Bentley under a bus, not a Bentley.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it's good to see Harry back, isn't it? He's a top rider, and it'll be fascinating to see what she does. Mellow for me then.
Grateful for me.
And Tom as well.
Mellow,
All right, okay. I'll tell you what, before we go for the big betting race of the season, as people are telling me, it is the Stewards Cup. Shall we get international on the show? Now, across the Irish Sea go we, is what I normally say when Senor Dineen joins the party. Look at this.
Where is that?
It's first and foremost, John, two things spring to mind. You're the only guy I know that when there's a heat wave in Britain and Ireland would go to Spain and probably find the rain cloud. But it's taken a plane for you to get some decent Wi-Fi, man. Your picture is crystal.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's warm here, though. Jesus, it's warm. Oh, my God.
John, it's great to have you on. It's absolutely superb. Yeah. Before we're going to talk about Galway, and we'll let you get that out of the way in a bit. But you join us just quickly. You've been hearing us talk about Free Wind in the background. It's the boost today. Where do you stand on the Gosden horse?
Look, she's a 6-year-old mare, probably not improving. I don't know what to make of her, to be honest. I certainly wouldn't back her. I do think it's a tricky race. I could, like Chaos Chorister, pull like I've never seen pull like it before hardly in the Aspinall Gold Cup. I find it hard to have any faith in that horse now. The French horse is a horse I know little or nothing about. Like, to me, it looked a race all bar Dancing Tango had some sort of a chance, and for that reason, it was definitely one of the races. I'd be sitting on the fence all day long here. Free Wind, maybe it can win. I'm not so sure that's. You'd want to back it even at 3-1. It's probably fair odds, to be fair, and on ratings and all that, it's probably ahead, but I wouldn't have bet the race myself.
All right, okay, another black mark then for the boost, if you're with it or you're not. All right, let's move on. Johnny will be loving this. He's joined us for the Stewards Cup, and it is now clear favourite Pura Sangay, the 3-year-old for Andrew Balding. A 3-year-old, of course, has won this in the last 10 years, trained by, yeah, you got it, that man himself. And the market, one-way traffic for Oshie Murphy. Johnny, the judge.
Yeah, it's really livened up this morning, the Stewards Cup. We're paying 6 places here, and you'd ordinarily expect a fair spread of business. But there's 2 horses here that have been hammered this morning. Pura Sangay is 4 from 7, and Billy Joe 11-2 from 9. I must add that when I put this market back out at 9, I thought, we'll be well under the market here. There was a little bit of 14 and 16 about, but now into 11-2 Billy Joe. So yeah, those are the 2 we're trying to avoid.
Johnny, let's just stick with you because you love your sprint handicaps, you love your group sprints. Both you and J-Matt, our traders each week, always rave up the sprints. Who's on top for the judge?
Well, I have to admit, I have backed Billy Joe when I saw the sponsors put out 16-1. But at the current prices, I'm going to take a bit of a wild swing at Mostabshire. I think dropping to 6 on fast ground, it's something different for him. So 20-1, 25-1, I would throw 5 each way, 6 places at Mostabshire.
He's a nice way to start this preview because this race, Tom, is maybe apart from the 3-year-old, is full of horses that you go, not again. Yeah. It's a project, isn't it? And it's who has their day. Let's just talk about this because you get the big 3 sprint handicaps. Can I say that? The Wokingham, this is the middle leg, the Stewards, and then on to Ayr, aren't we, for the Gold Cup? They're the big 3. People absolutely love them. Ascot, closing, stiff finish. Speed here, right? And probably track position is everything, isn't it? I guess, Tom, I'm going to have to stop asking you about the draw, and you were nodding for Mostabshire as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm long given up trying to work out where the draw is going to be in any race. Because as we saw with the mile, these things change. These things change a lot. I don't know where the best ground's going to be today. I don't know where the best pace is going to be. I can have a guess at it. I think the best pace might be low with Lethal Levi, Mr. Wagyu and Rhythm and Hooves on the far side. But then Apollo 1's drawn on the near. I don't know. So I'm going to not worry about that because it's something I can't predict. So I can't, I'm going to talk my way out of finding the winner if I start trying to say one side or the other.
Of course. Overthink it.
Yeah, overthinking.
So you're going to back the horse you like best.
Yeah, exactly. Analysis to paralysis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You end up.
I love that. So
you end up.
up.
You know what I mean? You end up talking yourself out of all horses. So I'm just going to. Unfortunately, the two I put up in the paper and the two I've backed are now 4-1 and 11-2. Now that might be something a little bit to do with me, but it's not really.
I think it is, Tom.
I think Billy Joe was just pretty obvious to me at 16-1, as Johnny said. He's got form in
On
loads.
you go, Billy Joe, I've been calling, because every week he turns up.
And every week he runs well.
Yeah, without winning.
Yeah, but he was desperately unlucky here on Wednesday. He was desperately unlucky. Well, he wasn't unlucky because English Oak's a good horse, but he beat all the rest. He hammered all the rest at Royal Ascot. I think a strong pace over 6 is perfect. And Mick Appleby, 6 runners, 4 winners, two placed horses. So
Yeah, so that's been a joy of the week actually.
And when these horses are
one of
backed,
the good
they
guys,
tend to run really well.
They
don't
do,
they?
and I think that big Mojo, the
well.
Malcolm winner, was 33s, but pretty sure I think Johnny the Judge would tell you they were right people having a few quid.
So I think Billy Joe's got a good chance. Pura Sangue is just the best handicapped horse in the race and could be a class above. I mean, she's been running in Group 1s and against all the best fillies. She was unlucky against Makarova last day. Andrew Balding's won it with a 3-year-old. The Baldings have a very good record in these sprint handicaps. I think he's going to run well. But you can, look, I'm not sure I want to back him at 4 and 11-2 now. That's
Dancing
for sure.
Star was, of course, the 3-year-old. I had to look down there.
There's been 3 in the last 10 years.
There's been loads, yeah. Cardem won it.
So Cardem, was the last one.
Yeah.
But now it's interesting because Magical Memory was another one. But we are talking about proper group class sprinters.
Yeah, you have to be to get in.
Yeah, they've got to be.
You have to be.
But they also, these winners that have either been a short price and won, they've gone on to greater things.
Yeah.
So you've got to believe in Pura Sangue.
Well, there's no reason not to, isn't he? He was second to Big Evs in the Malcolm last year. The issue with him is ground, isn't it? Because the Malcolm was soft ground and the run at Sandown last time was soft ground. So that's the issue with him. But he did win on his debut on fast ground at Haydock by 5 lengths or something. So, and the pedigree suggests he should be okay on it. I think Andrew Balding's on record of saying the ground is not that big an issue. It's just that on soft ground it slows everyone else down and helps him a bit. So I don't know. I thought those were the two, but you can make a case for loads. Mostabshire, I would definitely give a chance to, simply because I'm a big believer that 7 furlong on a mile form is a lot better than sprinting form. And you get these horses time and time again that drop back from 7 furlongs on a mile and win our sprints. Because I think the sprinters are rubbish. And I've thought that for long years. I think we breed bad horses over sprint trips.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I'm quite like the angle of horses dropping back a furlong. That's why I quite like Billy Joe. That's why I quite like Mostabshire, and that's why I also give a shout to Dark 30.
Someone else has mentioned that to me
who I thought has good form in proper 7 furlong races. Ran very well in a good 6 furlong race as a 3-year-old, and it's the type of horse that could run well back at 6 on fast ground here.
Yeah, it was Jamie Lynch on Sky, so he was talking to me about that. He's very keen on him as well. So some good judges go for Dark 30 as well. And name your pick. Who do you want to go with there? You know,
I'm going to go with a flyer. I'm going to put 7 questions up, as in just we're a 3-year-old again for starters.
Won a big race earlier in the season.
Won a Palace House, backed it up with a good run in the Temple. I mean, didn't run much of a race in the Group 1 at Royal Ascot, but I completely get what Tom says about the quality of the sprinters and drop. But I think this 6 furlong trip will actually help this horse a bit. You know, as in Andy shows plenty of pace early, and I think you're going to need to be able to hold track position in this. This is going to be rapid, isn't it? I mean, the ground is drying out all the time. It's a quick race anyway, and I think you're going to want to you're going to be able to make sure off a strong tempo that you can be there early.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He's interesting. He's got for the Isle of Jura man, as we now call him, Callum Shepherd. He's also got Rocket Rodney in the race. Who's again, you look down and you can find.
Well, you could start making a case for him a little bit.
This is the beauty of this race.
It's actually for all of them.
It's a sprint handicap.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's go to. I'm not sure where he is. He looks like he's on the Bond set somewhere. Johnny Dineen. The palm trees are everywhere. You'll be drinking out of a coconut next, John. But what is going to win this Stewards Cup? Your sort of race?
Yeah, look, it isn't really, but I'm looking at the prices. When I looked at it, I think there's 28 runners, huge field. and the draw obviously is going to be important. Like the way I look at this now, and I might be wrong, I might be completely wrong. Pure is saying 4-11 to 2 Billy Joe. Just say you have to lay them at 5 and 6 to 1. That's like 9 to 4 combined. So the way I'd look at it, like, would you take the other 26 at 4 to 9, or those two at 9 to 4? And I think I'd go the other 26 at 4 to 9 anyway, and take my chances, and lay them those two combined at 9 to 4. They look, like, I don't know a lot about them now, to be honest, but they look quite short in a race with so many runners and so many different things can actually happen in a race like this.
Yeah, do you think they're going to drift out quickly? Just,
I do.
Yeah. How short can he go, Purasangue? For what it's worth, I think Dark Trooper is now a price for Wotton, who ran so well in the first leg of these treble, if you like, at Royal Ascot. And I thought Apollo 1 is £2 higher than when touched off last year. I think, and then another one, just to confuse you, Paul Keeley's gone for Samarkand as well. So whatever you like, good luck. You're getting loads of 6 places at Hills. Go and have a go. If you want to take one of the bigger prices, maybe now's the time to do it. Okay, there we go. There are your Saturday previews done and dusted. We'll be back after this. All right, we're back. We're having a bit of fun now in the studio. And
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you, Senor Dineen. Don't worry. Honestly, the more I think about Johnny and where he is, do you reckon that there's, I don't know, a barman sort of cleaning it,
Exactly.
getting ready, going, what's he doing now?
I just want to see him finish the show by diving into the pool.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, we can get it on, Johnny. You've got your Speedos on underneath, haven't you?
I have actually.
Of course you
going
have.
to say, but do you know they're going to give six places in that race like that, okay? Or 6 or 7, whatever it is. Would you I'll ask the two boys there. Would you rather take 6 places, or if you could back your horse to finish within 2 lengths?
Oh, tricky one. Not sure. What about you? What do you reckon?
I'm not sure myself. I think it's about a 50-50 call, actually,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be dogmatic either way. Maybe the 6th places, I suppose. 2 lengths isn't a lot, but I do think to collect on the 6th place, you won't want to be any more than 2.5 behind at the same time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're supposed to go forward, John.
You say 2 lengths.
I don't know what your time zone is, Johnny.
But 10 or 12 of them could be within 2 lengths.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, when 7 questions on that Palace House, there was there was what between them all, wasn't there? So
There's been loads of races at Goodwood this week. Where
I suppose if something won 4 lengths, they'd be paying out nothing at the same time.
Yeah. Johnny, it's also been Galway, of course, this week. From afar, I suppose you've been watching it. Myself and Tom have had a little chat about it as well. How's the week been for you? We've got 2 days left.
Yeah, my luck isn't too bad, actually, to be honest. I've been doing not that many bets, but I played a bit in Goodwood, and it was okay for me. And Galway didn't play many races, maybe 3 or 4 for the week. And I'd say I could have hit 3 winners out of 5, that kind of thing. So not too bad. Not big prices either. I tend not to even look at the handicaps there, because I think you're needing too much luck, and you need jockeyship there as well. Because if you're not in the van up there, even in the big field races, you won't be winning. I watched one race actually on RTE, and Barry Geraghty was on, and he was able to say, obviously he's an experienced rider, he was able to say in the Galway hurdle, a 3 out, if you're not in the first 6 here, you can't win. And so there was about 20 in the race. So basically the from 7 to 20 had no chance even at that stage in the race. And so you need to be ridden up there. Definitely, maybe not making the running, but you need to be there to strike, and that's kind of the same in the flat races all during the week. And invariably there's bunching in that in the dip in them ordinary handicaps as well. But there's been good winners there, like Pinkerton won the plate on merit, and the horse that won the hurdle. What did win the hurdle again?
Nürburgring, Johnny.
Oh, Nürburgring, yeah. Like that. But again, that was there. You'd like to be on Nürburgring. I'd never bet it, but the way he was positioned, you'd like to be him from very early in the race. Pinkerton, I'd say, came from a bit back, all right, to be fair. But look, Galway's a tricky place, and there's a lot of racing there that are more bookie friendly than punter friendly, I would think. That's why there's probably 80 bookies there. It's kind of the meeting that they look forward to most for the whole year, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's 7 days it takes him getting. This is why you're, of course, beaming in from wherever you are. What is going to be ideally placed in the races today and tomorrow, John? I see you've gone for Janadil tomorrow. Maybe build up to that one with some selections today, if you don't mind.
Yeah, look, today I like Apples of Brazil in the first. Look, he has a run over hurdles at Christmas against Ballyburn, finishing within about 4 or 5 minutes of Cleatus Poola. And he has a recent run, which is important. He won a bumper in Sligo, and Barry Connell was going to say he's not really a bumper horse. Like, to me, a 3-1. Okay, Mullins is there with flat horses, and you don't exactly know how good they are. But 1-7, 1-9, and I always think that when they're going over hurdles at those ages, they're definitely vulnerable. And of the horses that have run over hurdles, I do think Apples of Brazil sets a pretty decent standard. Like, he all but won a bumper in Navan last year, so he ain't a bad horse. And he's no penalty for winning a bumper, albeit the fancied horses don't have any penalties here, probably the 5 that have any chance at all. I thought for starters he was a good bet at around 3-1. I'm going to start with that. The second race, I kind of like to look at Toto 2. He was going really well in a handicap hurdle there in Ballinrobe, and he was brought down. Admittedly, there's 2 out is a good bit out in Ballinrobe. You couldn't really say for certain, but he's locally owned, and Gavin Cromwell is a great operation. And like I'd say, this race has been targeted. He has an excellent chance in the second. The third race is a 2-year-old maiden. The favourite there is Aidan O'Brien's. That's one favourite I would not back myself, to be honest. I don't like the fact that he was second string first time out. He ran all right in Killarney, but I could even see the 4 toss turning around for him. Plus, you have a few dangerous looking newcomers with. I'd leave that one win. All the money's for the quiet man in the 4th race, and I think that will win. Even at evens now, I wouldn't be against that. And the last race, you have a half sister to Facile Vega. So it's in or around even money. I just have a feeling that mightn't be a lot, and I don't know much about it, to be honest. And tomorrow, Janadil is in that race. He's in that conditions chase, which easy game. I think the fact that Janadil went out early from the race on Wednesday, the plate, will stand to him here. He didn't have any race, and whereas the other thing, Easy Game, ran around and actually finished last. And Easy Game is not running well either. Janadil is about 4 pound well in the weights, and I would have said he was the best bet of the day tomorrow.
Marvellous. I'll tell you what we're, again, it's just all the things that go through your mind. I bet when we all go away, and viewers, you'll get this as well, when you go on holiday, put your phone down. That's what your family tell you, isn't it? I think Johnny probably has not got off his phone since he's been away, because he knows more about Galway than I could have possibly done in an hour's study there, you know? So, all right, so take on a couple of favourites and Janadil tomorrow. That is Galway, and that's 2 days. Enjoy it. Now, I believe it's time to go to an anti-post look, is it? I think we've got, of course, the King George out the way. We're going to have, but just before we look at the Nunthorpe, I'm being told we're going to have a look at a Galway review, though. We're carrying on with this. So is this where we get the anti-post movers coming up and all that sort of stuff, is it? I think Johnny Simpson's going to come in here potentially as well. A review of Galway then. Let's get them up. What have we got here? Okay, let's go down. Have we got any? We haven't got any of Galway there. No, these are the anti-post movers. All right, let's stick with these. All right, let's quickly go through these if you don't mind, Johnny. This is at Hills, of course. Last week we saw in the tactical battle that was the Skybet York Stakes or whatever it was, Alfredo winning it for a second time. He's, again, punter's not mad on his keen chances taking on City of Troy.
No, we went 10 from 14. It's more of the each-way angle there. You know, you're barely going to get 8 turn up in the Juddmonte, and he's a definite runner. So we're 10 from 14. All
right, I'm going to sort of cherry pick through these. Goliath, of course, for the Breeders' Cup Turf. He's a gelding, isn't he? They're going to have to travel with him. He's a buzzer for that.
Yeah, the comments from connections after that were likely that America was on the menu. So 7 from 25.
All right, okay. Notable speech. Good to see the Guineas winner back, wasn't it? That 5-1's too bad to my eyes. Jan Brugel, of course, Aidan O'Brien, unbeaten, now goes straight to the St Ledger, we think, just trimmed in there as workman like was he learning. Tom, I want to come to you on this one. Opera Singer, lots talking about. Actually, the Nassau has really hotted up the arc, hasn't it? You've got Sparkling Plenty, the Prix de Down, who probably didn't get the run of the race, ran on the third. Some people thinking she's a better 20s, but Opera Singer player?
Oh, it's not on the Nassau, not on the form. She's not beating See the Fire Ahead's not going to win you an arc. I wouldn't have thought, but I think I'm in a minority of one where I thought that Ryan Moore went about 2 furlongs too soon, and therefore she did really well to win and to hold off the others. So I think there's probably a lot more to come from her. I don't think she'd want it very soft.
Yeah.
But if it was good ground in the arc, I think she'll stay 1.5 miles. So it's not the maddest thing to think she could be a player in the race at all.
Okay, all right. You're sort of nodding away there as well. I think he's in the minority at one, guys. She did extremely well to hold on. Having back spotted in plenty, I felt certain I was going to pick her up. She was going away again.
I mean, I think Jan Bruegel is a fair price for the St Ledger. I think carrying that penalty was good the other day, and I thought notable speech Breeders' Cup Mile. That sounds like a pretty good fit. All
right, well, if you agree with the guys, go and fill your boots at Hills. Basically, they're available now. The anti-post price is up there for you. Thanks, Johnny, for that. Of course, tomorrow, at Deauville, we've got this new beautiful August meeting, which is the real jewel in the crown of the French flat racing calendar, and we've got the Prix Maurice de Geest, which is a field of 16. Let's get up the market. I think we probably have it. I was previewing this yesterday as the decks were coming in and the draw and everything. I wasn't sure exactly what the market was going to be doing. Johnny the Judge, I mean, you've got Millstream, of course, the July Cup winner, with probably the form in the book, up against the unbeaten big French hope, Lazare, whose form is working out left, right and centre and doesn't really know when he's beaten. What is the PMU going to do and what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's one of those markets that's very, very tricky to actually work out what the final SP is. As our field book will look plenty different to, say, the PMU prices. With Millstream will be our worst result by a country mile. Where the French horses we won't be able to give away. I mean, in actual fact, we're going to take on a few of the French horses. The Jean Prat form last start we think is really poor. So we'll be ensuring top price most of those. Lazat, we're just not quite sure where we're at with that. We're currently 5-1. And there's, I think the horse, the big improver is Extra. I thought he was infinitely better than his finishing position last time. I think you can get double figures Extra. I think he would be the each way bet 4 places.
That was at Longchamp last time out. Tom, comes to you with this. Have you had a look at it first and foremost?
That's my job for this afternoon, Dave. That will be a price-wise race this afternoon, so I will be having a very good look at it. I had a quick look on the way in. I thought it was wide open from what I saw. I'm quite interested to see what the ground is. It says good in our paper at the moment. Well, I think that means it's going to be pretty quick.
You can watch it on Sky Sports Racing this afternoon. They've got the Group 3 and stuff. It's good at the moment.
But that normally means it's a lot quicker than that. So it's probably nearer firm than good, I would imagine.
I was covering a place called Vittel yesterday. It was supposed to be soft underfoot. It was definitely good to firm over there.
They
don't budge their stewards, unlike ours.
And that'll make a difference for Millstream, because I think he likes a bit of give under the foot.
Yeah. 16 runners, fan across. Poste, you've had a look?
Yeah, I mean, again, at first glance, I mean, I thought Millstream was pretty obvious. I think he's a sprinter that's really coming of age. I've kind of liked him and followed him for a good while. I think Glen Eagles, who I think is a really underrated sire as well. But as Tom says, I suppose you're going to have to factor in if the ground is very quick. That might be a negative against him.
I'm a massive Lazare fan. It's impossible not to be, isn't it? Have a good look at him. I mean, he's a gelding, and they wanted to go to big prizes with him, but he's unbeaten, and Jerome Rainier's definitely got one there. All right, that's tomorrow. It's 3:07. You can watch that all on, of course, live on Sky Sports Racing, and it's available now. That market up there for you. First of a couple of big Sunday Group 1s coming away from Deauville. Right, OK, let's move on. I'm going to save Johnny Dineen for the anti-post race that we're looking at. We had the Qatar King George, the Batash race, as I called it yesterday. Of course, it went to Big Evs. You'd have seen that on the anti-post list that we had. Asfuro, of course, was conceding a penalty. Let's get the market up, if you don't mind, Johnny the Judge, for the Nunthorpe, and we can talk about it before going internationally, because one man's definitely got a strong view on that, I know. And you've gone... 9-2 Big Evs. That's something of a surprise.
Yeah, we took the view that with the penalty back at York, we think Asforo can turn that form around. We thought, we're going to push Big Evs out here, 9-2 from 4. Everyone likes just to cut horses after they win. It's the done thing. So we've taken the opposite view when we pushed it out to 9-2. So we are laying that, and we think believing 6-1. That is clear bottom at the moment of the industry. We think she can challenge for the Nunthorpe. It's 10 bar at the moment. A little bit of interest in Starlust at 12, who goes really well at the track.
All right, OK. We're going to see Bradsell back, of course, aren't we? Prepping for this. Let's go international, though, because Johnny Dineen, you think this is a price at the top of the market we should be taking?
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying I'd take it, but I would have a distinct like for Asfura to turn it around with Big Evs. I thought it could nearly have beat it in Goodwood, and I'd fancy it very strongly to beat it in York. I would, if she can hold her form like for one more race. She's been, I suppose she's come back from wherever she come from, Australia or whatever, and she's run twice in Ascot, and then she's run in Goodwood. But I think her trip is around 5.25 to 5.5 furlongs, that kind of stuff. And I presume they'll go like the Clappers, like living the dream. And he can't even lead in these races. They absolutely do go fast. So, look, she all but won in Goodwood, and I would definitely think she'll turn it around with Big Evs. Whether that'll be good enough to win and you get nipped by something else, maybe, I don't know. I would definitely be against Big Evs in the Nunthorpe. I don't think he'll win that anyway. I think that's for one will beat him, and maybe a few others as well.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's an expensive project, isn't it, taking on Big Evs, that's for sure. Of course, he did flop in a 2-year-old as a race last year, but that is the target before he goes back to America, where we think he'll sign off his career. Believing's an interesting one that Johnny mentioned there. If you read the comments yesterday that our reporters got on track, George Bowie said more desperate. Ryan Moore, of course, yesterday, go for the Nunthorpe. They're looking at the Curragh race instead, the Flying Five. They think that's different. I must admit, that makes more sense to me.
Well, it does. I mean, like with the form, with the previous run.
Yeah, having run there, yeah.
And I like Believing just looked short of pace, didn't you know, in the King George yesterday. You'd have thought that the stiffer 5 at the Curragh would be a more obvious fit, I'd have said.
The reason why this is such a good trial, not because Patasha was used to try and do it, not always successfully, of course. York is just a strange place with the Nunthorpe. Weird things happen, don't they?
Exactly.
But of course, this is another speedy track. You don't want to get too far.
Yeah, a very quick track, York, as we know. Thing I'd say is that I like course form at York.
Stardust.
Yeah, and I think, well, is he going to be quite quick enough?
I just thought there was a little bit of cut in the ground. He's very interesting.
Bradsell likes York. Living the Dream likes York. Big Evs ran badly the one time he's run there. I'm with Johnny. I think I thought Asfer should have won by half a length.
I still think it's a big shout to say Big Evs. Asfor will definitely beat Big Evs.
Not definitely, but I thought she should have won yesterday. I thought she not only did she have the penalty, but she was unlucky in the run. She got knocked sideways.
She quite comprehensively beat him at Royal Ascot as well, didn't she?
I prefer her over him, but it's York and it's a draw race. And if you get in behind Living the Dream up the far side, you're going to get a great toe in the race.
All right, we're not too far away from the Ebor meeting, the Nunthorpe meeting then that comes up at York. We'll be covering that, of course, here at the Racing Post, both editorially, superb stuff, and of course on our YouTube channels, all the AV shows coming your way. That brings us to the business end of the show. Look at that, 10:58. Who says we can't do it on the hour? We better get these out of the way, haven't we? Tom Segal will be back, I think, after this. Happy days. He usually misses his train, John, you'll be delighted to know. Let's get the naps up, shall we, and see what they've been boosted to. Now, every week, Johnny the Judge, we get these naps, of course. We do the boost, which is at the start of the show, and we boost them up. Charlie Poste is on a double insufferably. What have we got here? Talk us through them, and I'll get a line from the panellists on each and every one of them. They'll appear shortly, I'm sure. Yeah,
so we've got Emerick for yourself at 100 to 30, Griselda for Tom at 6 to 1, Align the Stars for myself at 4, Great Bedouin for Charlie at 11 to 1, and then 6 to 1 Fairy Glen for Mr. Dineen.
All right, okay. We're hearing actually the producers say, we haven't got them, we haven't been sent them the boost. So I've got them here, which you can see if you're on the app now, you'll be delighted to know. So Dave Orton, moi. I've gone for Imerick. I think it's the most straightforward in the opener. I'm out to 100 to 30. All right. Tom Segal, you'll be delighted to know, because you're quite big on Griselda, aren't you?
Yeah, I like her.
Really progressive, isn't she?
Yeah, she's really good.
You're getting 6 to 1. Good. Happy days. Johnny the Judge is on Align the Stars, that 3-year-old in the staying handicap. He's up against Posty. You can cover at 4 to 1 on Align the Stars, or you can have your 11s.
Yeah.
Go in again.
Exactly.
And Johnny Dineen, in the race that none of us like, you really like Fairy Glen. What price would you be hoping for, John? You've been boosted.
Yeah, look, originally I picked Emerick, but I wasn't allowed because you had it before me. So.
Yeah, finally.
So I had to go with the second best pick, which is this. Look, she's making her grass like debut, but I do like her, and she's improving. I didn't think she'd be 6 to 1 now. To be fair, I'd have taken a bit less than that even. Look, I just think she's a good chance. It is a tricky race, but the 3-year-olds, like, they don't have to step up to much to be competitive in a race, like where a lot of the exposed ones are in the older age bracket. I think I was impressed with her in Kempton, because I had something on Beeley that night, but I thought the way she gave her £7 and dismissed her, I like her now myself.
Brilliant. Johnny, it's been great to have you with us. There are your naps then. They're all boosted. They're live now. We'll let you get back to the hammock, Johnny.
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much. Good luck. What did they say? I don't even know the Spanish for good luck, but all the best anyway.
I think gracias. Well, that's what you're hearing is gracias. He's definitely nice.
Gracias
Thank you,
is
before.
thank you.
That's Dave Lowe in my ear going, it's gracias.
Yeah.
He's one man that's clearly...
He's not someone that I would rely on for Spanish translation.
They got rid of his passport years
Yeah.
ago. He hasn't been away, that's for sure. All right, wasn't that brilliant to have Johnny Dineen somewhere tropically? Wasn't it brilliant to have Tom and Charlie on together?
Lovely,
Thanks,
good
lads.
fun.
All right, enjoy Reading this afternoon.
Yeah,
Yep.
good luck.
Enjoy
Whatever.
feet up. Is it a bit of Olympics? Is it?
Bit of Olympics.
Olympics this afternoon.
All right,
And
okay.
Goodwood, of course.
And Goodwood, yeah, don't forget about that. Good luck with your tips. Johnny the Judge, great to have you back with us. Good luck with the Line the Stars, et al. The Boost, free wind. We're going to get it beat this week, I know we are.
Yeah, best of luck today. It's a busy Saturday as always.
All right, okay. And for myself, Dave Wilson, loads of sport out there. What a Saturday. Enjoy it.